Yaffee program on WVNN.
So you might all remember when State Representative Wandelin Gavan was on with Dale Jackson earlier this week. I talked about it a little bit, but if you missed it, the podcast is up on our website. But I also wrote about it at yellowhammernews.com. Now, those comments she made were about her fellow lawmakers in Montgomery, basically called them racist. And when I tell you that there are just too many Democrats, they just can't help but play the race card. Now she's... I laugh because it's almost just crazy comments to the point where you just have to laugh. But now she is calling someone else racist. Wait until you hear what she said. I will always give you the latest news, and I'm also going to give you the latest on this redistricting, gerrymandering bonanza that is still going on across the country and here in Alabama. You are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Also coming up on the show, we'll get to more details on the new primaries being set in Alabama during the Alabama Bullet Points. The bottom of the hour, we'll speak with Congressman Barry Moore. He is running for the U.S. Senate. He has a new bill out, which I'll have the details in the bullet points, about Sharia law. It's been a big issue for him, making sure Sharia law is not coming to America, radical Islamism. So we'll discuss that. In the next hour, Trump is visiting China, also talking about Iran. What is the latest there? You'll have to find out. We also have something that made Yaffee laughy. We'll get to that. And we'll do What's Trending later on the show with the Yaffee program Rewind. Bugsy is here right now producing. Bugsy, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Yaffee. I had a weird morning when I got trapped on air with WZYP.
What? How did that happen?
So it's Walker's birthday today, and she's out getting birthday cake before she comes in and takes over. And I have birthdays. Hopefully she's not listening. I have 2 birthday cards for her because we couldn't decide which one to get. And I was getting everybody at ZYP to sign it for her. And I had to go get it because I was, I want to have it ready by the time she gets here. So I had to go get it and put it in the envelope. And turns out they were on air during our break. So I was waiting. And instead, they just kind of roped me into it and then criticized me for eating apples in the shower. So.
Okay. There's a lot I could talk about there. Apples in the shower? That's the thing you do?
Yeah.
How did they know that? How
they
did
asked me.
They asked you if you eat in the shower, or
no? They have like a question that they were asking their audience, and it was something like, "What unusual thing have you done like naked that nobody else, you don't think anybody else has done?" And I was like, "Well,
eat apples in the shower."
And I said, "Eating apples," and they were like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, I do it a lot. I eat apples in the shower. It's fun."
It's fun?
Yeah, it's fun. It's an experience, Yaffee. You wouldn't understand.
Like You're right. I would not understand. I've never had any kind of inclination to do any of that. By the way, I always have to ask too, was Dale talking about me today? What did Dale mention about me today? Anything?
He did. I think he just called you a flake at one point.
Okay.
Oh, no, we did accuse... I remember we did accuse you of bringing a gun into a school. I forgot about that.
Oh,
we didn't directly accuse you like we did Austin. We just kind of implied.
Oh,
because
okay.
You weren't
Wonderful.
There.
Thanks. Okay. This is why I have to ask. I have to ask you before my show. Okay, what do I have to expect now that Dale told me? Okay. Anyway, let me give you the latest news. After that nonsense, let me give you the latest news of what's going on in Alabama, because we had on Monday, the Supreme Court said that we can go back, the state of Alabama can go back to the 2021 map. So that means that Governor Kay Ivey has set the special primary date. It says Governor Ivey sets 2026 special. I'm going to read some of this from yellowhammernews.com. You should read it every day, honestly, yellowhammernews.com. Governor Ivey sets 2026 special primary election tailor-made for Alabama's 7-0 full GOP sweep. So Governor Kay Ivey signed a proclamation Tuesday calling a special primary election for August 11th in Alabama's 1st, 2nd, 6th, and 7th congressional districts. In so doing, she's executing on the authority state lawmakers handed her last week during a special session and pulling the trigger less than 24 hours after the U.S. Supreme Court vacated the federal court injunctions. There will be no runoff, by the way. The general election remains on Tuesday, November 3rd. The proclamation triggers special primary elections in the 4 districts whose lines materially change. I'm not sure why let me read some more of this. It says whether the state can ultimately get to a 7-0 delegation will come down to what the 3-judge panel does next to remand, whether lawmakers are willing to return to Montgomery one more time. So we are not to the point yet where they're calling another special session to do a 7-0 full GOP sweep, changing the map again. Is that going to happen? I have no idea. I really have no idea. Right now, we're back to the 6-1 district. So as you can imagine, some Democrats are not too happy about this. Wandalyn Gavan, state representative. She also ran for mayor of Montgomery. I remember all that going on. She's been on with Dale. She put out a video. And, of course, she has to target Clarence Thomas. Now, because their whole platform is just identity politics at this point, she can't just criticize his rulings or his philosophy. No. She has to go even further. Do we not understand how racist this kind of stuff is? We're told that Republicans are being racist with the redistricting. And then when you have a Supreme Court justice who happens to be black, who just has a disagreement with you, you're allowed to just call him some of the worst names in the book? And that's okay. Just go ahead, Bugsy. Play the Wandalyn Gavan. This is what she said on a video recently.
Clarence Thomas is the justice who has that, the way it's set up like a supervisory, I can't give the exact definition of it. So it's broken up to different districts. He has Alabama. This MFer, I'm sorry guys, this man, this Uncle Tom, this black man right here, I don't know what kind of black he is. I don't know what damn plantation this man came from. I don't know which slave ship he was on. I don't know what part of the slave ship he was on. But I have never in my life met a black man who has never done any damn thing at all in the position that he has that would ever benefit black people. And this man that's just as dark as I am, you literally have ruled to take away 2 damn congressional seats because that's what's going to happen. That you are now setting the course. You have sided with the Republican Party. You are a freaking straw boss, a Stephen Fletcher, a damn Uncle Tom for these people. I just don't get it.
Did you hear everything that she called him Uncle Tom? What plantation did he come from? Has never done anything for black people. Why do they think that kind of argument is effective? Frankly, I hear that kind of stuff, and I just say forget it. 7-0 district. Call a special session today. I'm so done with this nonsense. The fact is, if we want to move forward as a country, we need to stop basing everything on race and look at people as individuals. Judge them by their content of their character, which is what the dream was. And that is how we move forward as a country. And also, that is the best way to help minorities in this country. If we all look at each other as individuals, that is much better for minorities, which is what Clarence Thomas would argue. So you have one justice in the Supreme Court who is African American and conservative. And I bet you if you did a poll of most conservative Republicans in the country, who is your favorite Supreme Court justice? I almost guarantee you a majority would say Clarence Thomas. And instead of that being a sign that we have moved past racism, that people are judging him, Republicans, conservatives judge him because they like what he does, which is what we should aspire to. No, that means he must be an Uncle Tom or something. So I'm so done with this. This country has made so much progress, but the progress now is the problem, I guess. So forget it. I don't want the 6-1 to map. 7-0 map. How about we call a special session now? I'm just done hearing this kind of nonsense. We are never going to move forward as a country and get better as a country and be less racist as a country with comments like that. Now, by the way, on the redistricting thing, I know Senator Tommy Tuberville, he wants a 7-0 map as well. He was on Newsmax talking about it. Go ahead and play a Tuberville cut 1 for me.
Yeah, well, if you look and see what they tried to do in Virginia, obviously the Supreme Court kicked it out. It was all nonsense. If you look at almost all the Northeast, it's 40% Republican. They have 0 House representation in 8 or 9 states. And then they continue to push the narrative in other states. So we are redistricting in the state of Alabama. We'll have a map that's basically 6-1. Right now it's 5 Republicans to Democrats. But the problem is judges made us do this. Judges and politics should not pick our representatives. Yeah. It should come from the people. And so we got to get these judges and all this nonsense out of it and make it fair and represent the people and not the politicians.
All right, so I agree with that completely. The fact is, Democrats, they would go to judges, they would scream racism, judges would say, okay, we'll redraw the map. And that game is over. It's not how it's supposed to work. If you want to weigh in, we have the Yaffee text line, as usual, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Do want to tell you about the sponsor here real quick right now. It's Jay's Appliance Outlet. They are located in Athens, and they're awesome. In fact, don't just take my word for it. I know many people that listen to this show. They call me, and they're like, Yaffee, thank you so much for talking about Jay's, because I went there, got a new appliance, and the customer service was amazing. Got it for a great price. Yes, I have people reach out to me and tell me, they thank me for telling them about Jay's Appliance Outlet. And I'm like, well, that's great, but you really should thank them. They're family owned and operated, and you'll get a great appliance, a new appliance, for a great price. Jay's Appliance Outlet in Athens. You can give them a call as well. Dial pound 250. Say the keywords Jay's Appliance Outlet. Pound 250, Jay's Appliance Outlet. When you go, let them know Yaffee sent you. All right, we'll have the Alabama bullet points coming up next. Congressman Barry Moore at the bottom of the hour. This is the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. We are here on Newstalk 770 AM 92.5 FM WVNN. Congressman Barry Moore will be joining me at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk about the latest with the U.S. Senate race. He has a new bill out when it comes to preventing Sharia law from coming to America and much, much more. We'll talk redistricting, I'm sure, as well. Right now, though, let's get to other headlines. We have the Alabama bullet points.
Alabama bullet points. Today's headlines from around the Yellowhammer State.
Sponsored by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Number 4 today, Barry Moore's bill would require immigrants to disavow Sharia law. That's right, Congressman Barry Moore, a candidate for the U.S. Senate, introduced the Crusade Act, which is the Countering Radicalism Under Sharia and Defeating Extremism Act. Now, the bill would amend EB-4's special immigrant visa category, including religious workers, to require applicants to explicitly disavow Sharia law and swear an oath affirming their commitment to the U.S. Constitution as the supreme law of the land. Now, Barry Moore argues that America was founded on the constitutional rule of law, not foreign systems like Sharia, which he says has been used globally to justify persecution of religious minorities. Now, it's also been used on restrictions on women. So the effort builds on his earlier Defeat Sharia Law in America Act, which aims to clarify the Sharia-based discrimination violating the Civil Rights Act. Number 3 today, and now we got to talk about on the Senate side, where U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville is putting forward a bill called the Assimilation Act. And he spoke about it on the floor of the Senate yesterday. So Tuberville, who is going to be Alabama's next governor, joined Representative Andy Ogles and others to promote the Assimilation Act, a bill aimed at stricter immigrant vetting, ending chain migration, and eliminating the visa lottery. Now, in a May 13th, 2026 appearance on Newsmax as well, Tuberville cited the case of Aline Wang, the former mayor in California, accused of being an illegal Chinese agent, as evidence of the need for reform. He stressed that immigration should focus on American laws and culture rather than seeking to change the country. Tuberville criticized the current broken system, suggesting pausing immigration if necessary, and declared that those unwilling to follow U.S. laws should go home. Number 2 today, Secretary of State Wes Allen is reminding Alabamians to vote in the May 19th primary. So Alabama Secretary of State Wes Allen, who's running for lieutenant governor, is urging all Alabama voters to participate in the May 19th primary, despite Governor Kay Ivey's decision to delay congressional primaries in 4 districts. So that special election will be on August 11th. I'll talk more about that in a moment. But Allen emphasized that the May 19th vote will still decide all statewide races, including constitutional offices, local races, state legislative and judicial contests, and constitutional amendments. Now, voters in the affected districts can't cast ballots for the non-congressional races on May 19th. I believe Jerry Carl also commented on this. He's someone who's going to move districts because of all of this, but he said it's kind of a snapshot for him on where voters are, even though it doesn't really count towards his election. So it's still time to vote. Yeah, saying number 1 today, Governor Kay Ivey calls special primary elections for 4 of Alabama's congressional districts. That's right, Ivey has called a special primary elections for Alabama's 1st, 2nd, 6th, and 7th congressional districts. They're going to be on August 11th, moving them from the original May 19th date. This decision follows the U.S. Supreme Court's recent ruling that paused a court-ordered map featuring 2 majority black districts, or one was pretty close to majority-minority, and returned the case for further possible review under stricter limits on race-based redistricting. Now, the change gives times for a possible return. Well, it's going to be to the return to the 2023 map. Candidates must qualify by May 22nd with no runoff scheduled. The general election remains set for November 3rd. Ivey urged voters to take part in the special primaries, along with those other races on May 19th as well. So we'll talk more about this with Congressman Barry Moore next. Right now, I got to talk more about Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Pretty close to summer. I know a lot of people like to get married over the summer, but to do that, you first have to ask the question, guys. Okay, you're like, yeah, but I don't have a ring. I got to get a diamond ring, but they're expensive. Where do I go, Yaffee? You know where to go. Go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn. They have engagement rings for great prices that look great. They can do the sizing. So if you need it resized, they can do that. They can do the setting for you if you want a different diamond. They have a lot of diamonds to choose from. It really is the place to go if you're looking to get married. Now, if you need just a wedding ring, I actually have a coworker who got wedding rings there and much more. Go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn. It really is the best place in town to shop for jewelry, and you really want to go to the Madison location. Now, they're located in Madison, like I said, off Greenbrier Exit 3, 565, by the big rusty water tower. You know where it is. You've seen it before. Now, what's really cool is you can put jewelry on the layaway. So maybe if you want to wait to ask the big question until Christmas or something, put it on layaway now. Then it will be ready for you on Christmas. They have same as cash financing options as well. And if you're looking for other types of jewelry, antique jewelry maybe, permanent jewelry, they can do that for you also. Go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn and see more about the deals at pistolandpawn.com. That's pistolandpawn.com. Let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. We'll be back in here in just a sec on the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
The Yaffee program.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Sandy's app. If I give you a decade, who do you think's the MVP?
80s, Hogan, not even close. 90s, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Absolutely.
2000s, John Cena.
You filmed The Brain in 2004.
Yeah.
Isn't the story that role was going to be for
Steve Austin.
For Steve Austin.
Yep. What is one man's trash is another man's trophy.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM WBNN. Welcome back to the Yaffee program. You know who I am, Alabama's voice of reason, Huntsville's conservative conscience, and you know where to find the podcast. If you ever miss the show live, the podcast is available on the website. Just go to WVNN.com or the WVNN app. Joining me on the show right now is Congressman Barry Moore. He is also a candidate for the U.S. Senate. Congressman, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, good morning.
A lot to talk about, but really everyone in Alabama, at least, focusing on the redistricting battle. And we had the court say that we could go back to that 2023 legislative map. Now, that affected you as well when you were running for Congress. So what do you think about not only the recent Supreme Court decision, but now that we have the special session and the primary date has been changed, a special primary date? What do you think?
Well, obviously, like you said, I was a victim of redistricting where a lot of the people that were in the original 2nd Congressional District that I was actually representing got drawn into a minority-majority district based on race, and they lost their voice in the process. And so for me to have gone through that and understand what it's like, you build those relationships, you develop the interest in the communities of interest, and then all of a sudden the courts come in and you get sued by the left and they just take the seats and draw them in a way that actually bases them on race and not on policy or communities of interest.
Okay, and so I played a cut earlier of Wandolyn Gavan, and she basically called Clarence Thomas and Uncle Tom. She also recently called Alabama lawmakers racist. I mean, they just can't help but play the race card, can they?
Every single time, Yaffee, every single time. And honestly, there's nothing more racist than drawing districts based on race, saying that, the minority can't vote Republican. And Trump's moved the numbers with minority voters across the country. I mean, he's up 11% with the black vote. And so to say that, we're just going to draw this based, it was all about power. It always is. You and I talk so often, and everything that seems like the left does. And what they do, they play the race card. They call you names. I mean, you saw what happened out in the state legislature when those guys are literally going along with what the Supreme Court ruled. I mean, they get attacked. They get called names. And that may be effective in some ways. But the one thing that it does, if we don't stand on principle and we don't stand on the fight for everybody having a voice in the process, then it kind of try to intimidate, and it takes away the voice of the people actually that are in the districts. And so for me, it's just crazy. I don't think it's happened many times in Alabama, but this congressional district that I'm in and the one that I was in prior, they get redrawn based on being sued. And you saw, we've seen up the Northeast coast. You got 9 states along the Northeast coast from Maine down through there that literally Trump 37 to 48%, and not a single member of the U.S. House of Representatives is a Republican from 9 states up the Northeast. And so they scream wolf, they cry racism, but when they're in power in those states, they take advantage. They use it to try to maintain power. We're simply saying, let's put it back to communities of interest. Let's make sure that the district truly represent the people, and it's not a grab for power.
So right now we go back to what was drawn in 2023, but there are some, and I believe you were one as well, calling for another special session. Let's get it back. Let's change it again to make it a 7-0 Republican-dominated map. What do you think?
Absolutely. Trump's polling 84% in Alabama. And to say that, you got to have 2 majority and minority districts just so the Democrats can have a say in the U.S. House of Representatives, that's not at all what Alabama feels. That's not how we, the people of Alabama, feel. The map for Alabama needs to be 7-0, and it needs to reflect the values of our state.
Speaking with Congressman Barry Moore, he is also a candidate for the U.S. Senate. I want to move on to a bill that you just introduced, talking about, it's called the Crusade Act, and it would have immigrants that want to come into America they would have to disavow Sharia law. So talk about this bill.
Yeah, part of that, America's first immigration act, and then the Sharia, it's making sure that people are going to assimilate. Sharia law is in direct conflict with the Constitution. It actually limits your liberties once they maintain power and once Sharia law comes in place, especially for females, but even for people who are religious dissenters who don't want to be Muslim. And so Sharia law cannot line up with the Constitution of the United States. And so that's a line in the sand we have to draw. We see what's going on in Europe. Those people are now, Paris, London, they're being taken over. And it devours everything it touches. We don't need it coming to this country and taking over. If you want to come over here, that's fine, but you need to assimilate. You need to understand the Constitution. This country is the law. That is the law of the land, and you need to be willing to abide by the Constitution. And so we're going to lead the charge on that. I joined the Sharia Free Caucus early on. I think we got about 40 or 50 members now, but Keith Self from Texas and myself, Randy Fine from down in Florida, we were some of the early members, some of the early participants, because we see as a danger what happened in Europe, and there's 57 Muslim countries. We don't need an invasion here. If you want to come to this country, that's fine. You come over here, you adhere to the Constitution, what is the law of the land, then we're okay with that. But we're not going to allow Sharia law to try to get a toehold here like it has in many places.
Now, you're running for the U.S. Senate to replace Tuberville, who is most likely going to be Alabama's next governor. And speaking of Tuberville, yesterday he spoke on the floor of the Senate, kind of on a similar topic here. He has the Assimilation Act. I'm guessing that's something you would support.
Yes, Coach and I are very much aligned. Like I said, we got two of the top liberty scores in the delegation, and it's about protecting liberty and standing for the Constitution. And so he understands, and as I do, that is a fight for the future of the country. That is a battle that not many people right now are seeing, but it's coming. It's on the horizon. And so we can't go the way of Europe. We can't go the way of Iran 20 or 45 years ago. We need to make sure that the Constitution and that you're assimilating, you're coming here, you understand the law of the land is the law of the land, the Constitution, and that is the law we're going to abide by. And so, yes, sir, Coach and I are a lot aligned on, I think, about 99.9% of the issues. He may miss 0.1 every now and then, but we're about 99.9%.
Yeah, can't get much closer than that. I'm speaking with Congressman Barry Moore. He is a candidate for the U.S. Senate. So any thoughts on Trump's trip to China? He's meeting with Xi Jinping. They say they're going to talk about Iran, trade, AI. But what do you think so far? What do you expect out of this trip?
Well, obviously I think it's good that he's going. And he took some top business leaders from America. And so we don't know what will come out of that, but it never hurts to start with dialogue and a relationship and understanding that, hey, these are some areas we can agree on. These are areas we will not compromise on. And so the president's an incredible negotiator. He wrote that book, Art of the Deal, that I read many, many years ago. And he's done a fine job with dealing with other countries and building relationships. And look, I don't know what to expect to come out of it, Yaffee, but obviously AI is an issue. We're looking at crypto in America. We want to lead the way on these things. We don't want other countries to lead the way. But there'll be some agreements, areas of agreement, I think, that at least we can start discussions on, get the dialogue started. And it never hurts, I think, to be at the table and try to make sure that there is a conversation being had. And usually where the biggest problem is, and Charlie Kirk used to say all the time, if there's no debate, if there's no discussion, that's where you begin to begin to create enemies out of people you don't truly know. So I think it's important for the president to be there. I think it'll be an opportunity for the two countries to see where they have a common agreement, and it's good that they're at the table. We'll see what comes out of it.
Now, as I mentioned, one thing they are going to talk about is Iran. Trump said the latest deal is unacceptable. I'm guessing you're not too surprised by that. I am not surprised that Iran is being this way at this point, but what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree. You're dealing with a regime that's got an apocalyptic view of the future, right? And so I think in many ways they are tough to get nailed down. And I think even within their own ranks right now, there's like a disagreement on who's in leadership. And so it's difficult to negotiate when you don't know who the lead person is and who you're trying to talk with. And so I'm not surprised it's taken some time. And I think that hopefully the economic sanctions are working. We've had a pretty good dent in their ability to have a Navy. I think we've sunk all their ships, all 159 of them. So we got them in a position. The sanctions seem to be working, the oil sanctions. And I think that's probably part of the discussion with China, too. I think they get a good bit of their energy from there. And so that may be what's on the table as well as the president's over there. But hopefully they'll be buying American energy at some point. We'll see. I don't know what the president's going to do with that. But yeah, Iran's an interesting animal. They've been kind of causing problem around the globe for many years now. And so I think we've got them in a spot, but they need to identify who to negotiate with and get an agreement.
So you were talking about energy there as well. Trump was asked about the idea of suspending the gas tax, the federal gas tax, temporarily. I was calling on Alabama to temporarily suspend the state gas tax. I said the same thing to my friends in Tennessee. What do you think about the idea?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I was never a proponent of the gas tax when I was in the state legislature, and we held it up till 2018, till many of us left the conservatives, that first Republican majority. But yeah, right now with people struggling, I think it's something to look at. And at the federal level, as we're looking at it, as conservatives, we're like, look, we can suspend the gas tax, but we need to slow suspending on the other side too. I mean, it makes sense to leave more money in people's pockets, but there's some areas up here too that we can lighten what we're spending, and so we're pushing for both. And we want to see the federal government continue to spend less and tax less. And so if we let people keep more of their money, I think that's a great idea. And right now with fuel prices, because of the thing in Iran, certainly it's something that we need to look at to allow the American people to have a reprieve for the time being.
Congressman Barry Moore, also a candidate for the U.S. Senate. Talk about how the campaign is going. What are you hearing from the voters, the constituents out there?
It's going well. We're hearing good things. I've been in enemy territory many times in my life in the political world, but as I travel the state, they're very receptive on the message with the president endorsing me, the conservative record I've got, running, like I said, a replace coach. He and I came to D.C. at the same time, a little over 5 years ago now, and we're two of the top conservative guys in the country. And so as people hear that, Yaffee, they're very receptive to the message, and we're feeling good about where we're at. We're kind of excited and running through the tape. It's Tuesday, May 19th, so it's just a few days away.
Congressman Barry Moore, really appreciate you coming on the show as always. Hope to talk to you again in the future.
All right, thank you, Yaffee.
All right, there you go. Maybe here's your guy. I actually should take a poll here. You can tell me on our Yaffee text line, is he your guy for the U.S. Senate? Maybe you're voting for Marshall. Maybe you're voting for Jared Hudson, Rodney Walker, whoever it might be. Let me know. Text in on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. This is Huntsville Smart Talk Radio. Don't forget to like the Yaffee Facebook page. Follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. That would be smart as well. Just saying. Got some people weighing in on our Yaffee text line, brought to you by RegenesisStemCell.com. One person said this, I thought it was pretty funny. He said, boy, he missed out on that advertisement for talking about Barry Moore running for Senate. He said it should be called Hardcore Barry Moore. Okay. I'll let him know. That's an idea. Jeremy weighed in as well. We were talking about Barry Moore's bill to basically ban Sharia law. He says, Sharia law says that it's okay to lie to an infidel. Do you really think they're going to be honest with us infidels? Okay, interesting point. You would have to have more of a check than just the word, I guess. Another person said this, and it's a good question. I was talking about suspending the gas tax. Person says, what would the gas consumers save in Alabama if both the federal and state gas taxes were suspended? I'm glad you asked. So it'd be about 30 cents for the Alabama state tax, and it would be about 18 cents for the federal gas tax. So it's about 48 cents a gallon. I mean, I think that's pretty substantial. When you're filling up your tank and you're saving 48 cents a gallon, I mean, that's what? Close to, if you're filling up, it costs $40. You have you're filling up, it's got a 10-gallon tank. I think it's $4 or $5 you're saving. That's pretty good. By the way, when it comes to banning Sharia law or assimilating, I talked about how Tommy Tuberville spoke on the floor of the Senate yesterday. He's putting forward his Assimilation Act. He also talked about it on Newsmax. Go ahead if you can, Walker. Play Tuberville cut 2. Skip down to cut 2 and play cut 2 of him for me.
President Trump's got a game plan. He's been working on it. He understands the significance of the
Actually,
control.
stop right there. That was a wrong cut. Play cut 3 for me. Sorry, Walker. Cut 3 at Tuberville.
I mean, it's China, but people from third world countries that are coming here. And it's all about assimilation. It's all about coming here like our German ancestors and Italians and the Greeks and all the coming over years ago and saying, listen, let's make this country, this is our country now. Let's make it better. Let's not fly our flags around. Let's go by the laws of the United States of America and make it better. But the problem is our immigration system, Ed, is broken. It needs to be fixed. And I've got a bill out now called the Assimilation Act, and it prioritizes people that want to come over and assimilate. But it also does away with chain migration, does away with the visa lottery. A lot of this stuff we have is nonsense. We go back to 1920, we didn't have any immigration. We stopped it. And if we have to do that to correct this problem we've got, which is huge, we need to do that. But we are losing our country every day because of the nonsense of these people coming from other countries and saying, hey, we want to change this country to the country we came from.
You know, people got so mad at him for this. I mean, really mad if you look on X. But didn't this used to be just basic common sense that we wanted immigrants to assimilate and they wanted to assimilate because that's why they wanted to come here? We'll be back in a moment.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
The Hammer Alley Podcast, an 80s flashback mockumentary.
Back in the 80s, there were 1,000 bands trying to make it in the world of rock, but there was one band that had it all, Hammer Alley.
Whatever happened to Hammer Alley?
How did they go from Top of the Rock?
I'm looking for a music video. They're a band from 1987, Hammer Alley. Ever heard of them?
To rock bottom.
Dude, I was born in 1987.
Oh.
I can't believe he's doing this.
Hammer Alley.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
Well, Trump would never say this, but I'll say it. And you already know this. Most of us already know this. We are in 2 Cold Wars right now. 2 Cold Wars as a country. One, we have the Cold Civil War that's going on between the left and the right in this culture. Cold Civil War. It's not a hot war because that would be mutually assured destruction. I say that so we were in the Cold War with the Soviet Union, but we never went to a hot war because of nuclear weapons, mutually assured destruction. We're in a Cold War in this country, but it would never go to a hot war because it would be mutually assured destruction. Nobody wins that. So put that aside, though. We are also in a Cold War with China. And it's kind of the same thing. Now, one thing, whether you agree with the war in Iran or not, one thing this really has exposed is we are apparently not as ready for a war with China, if it came to that, maybe to fight over Taiwan, as we should be. Or maybe we're better than we thought. I'll explain that in a moment. There are a couple different reasons why I'm going down that road. But we'll also talk about Trump and his visit to China. He'll never say there that we're in a Cold War with China, but we are. You are listening to the Yaffee Program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. Here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Let me give you the latest on Trump's trip. I'm going to read some of this from the Wall Street Journal. It says President Trump arrived in China with a contingent of high-profile business leaders, including tech billionaires Elon Musk and Jensen Huang, for a summit with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Now, over the coming 2 days, the leaders are expected to discuss issues related to the war in Iran and trade. Now, looming over the meeting of the 2 superpowers is the U.S. blockade of Iranian shipments of oil bound for China. Now, Trump is seeking Beijing's help to end the Middle East conflict. Hours before Trump departed for China, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told lawmakers on Capitol Hill that China has a lot of leverage over Iran. So if you're wondering why we are still in Project Pause, despite Trump ripping up a potential deal with Iran, we had Project Freedom to open up the strait, and then it ended. So I've called it Project Pause. We have not started really bombing them again. This is why. Trump's visit to China is why that we're still in this state. Because Trump, I don't think, wants to bomb them, wants to really hit Iran hard while he's over there, because he's hoping to get a deal where China puts leverage on Iran. Now, that is already happening to a certain extent. It's pretty obvious that Pakistan, is kind of the mediator here, but Pakistan is basically doing what China wants in that regard. Now, Trump was asked about his trip to China before he left. Go ahead, Walker, if you can, play a Trump cut 1 for me.
President, what is the ultimate goal of your trip to China?
I think more than anything else is we have massive relationships with China. We're the two superpowers. We're the strongest nation on earth in terms of military. China's considered second. Who knows? Who knows? But we are. There's nobody even to come close. And you see that whether it's Venezuela or whether it's Iran. Iran's military is decimated. I have a great relationship with President Xi, and I think it's going to remain that way. We have a lot of things to discuss. I wouldn't say Iran is one of them, to be honest with you, because we have Iran very much under control. We're either going to make a deal or they're going to be decimated. So one way or the other, we win.
What about
we're going to be talking with President Xi about a lot of different things. I would say more than anything else will be trade.
All right, so he's even saying Iran's not going to be the biggest topic. He wants to talk trade because Trump always wants to talk about trade. That's what Trump wants to do. But they'll talk about AI. That's going to come up, technology, maybe Taiwan, all of that stuff. So what do you think? Is something going to come out of this? Now, when it comes to Iran, before Trump left as well, yesterday Trump did talk about the latest in Iran, the latest on the potential to make a deal. Go and play Trump cut 2 for me.
Their military's gone. It's wiped out. And we're only going to make a good deal. And we'll see what happens. But I believe that one way or the other, it's going to be very good for the American people. And I think actually very good for the Iranian people. You're going to have so much oil. You're going to have a gusher of oil like you've never had before. So when oil goes up a little bit, I thought it would go up much more. If you go back 3-4 months ago, when we were contemplating, we assumed oil would go much higher.
All right. Now, he has been saying that from the beginning. I mean, I guess I'll take him at his word. I have no idea if that's true. Now, Tuberville, I had mentioned in the last hour, but I'll play it here. Tuberville was also, are you a senator? He was on Newsmax. While he was on Newsmax, he was asked about Trump's trip to China and what he thinks is going to possibly happen. Play a Tuberville cut 2 for me.
President Trump's got a game plan. He's been working on it. He understands the significance of the control that China has over a lot of our supply chain, our farming materials, a lot of commodities. As you said, they're right now reeling from not being able to take that Iranian oil, Venezuelan oil, a lot of things that they'll talk about. The one thing I hope President Trump gets over to President Xi is we don't need wars. We need us to start getting along, but everybody needs to pay their share. We do not need this so-called free trade. We need fair trade. We need to be able to work with the Chinese and get things done. They do a lot of things that we don't have opportunities to do, and vice versa. So let's work together. And hopefully, I know President Trump's friends with President Xi, and I think they'll have great conversation. But again, I just don't know who's running the country from behind the scenes in China, because he's had a tough time, Ed, with his military. Yeah. All of his officers, are they still on his side?
Now, there is some thinking that China is much weaker than what people realize, mostly because of what Tuberville said. There's some struggles within the government in the country, but economically, they never really recovered from COVID like we did. And economically speaking, their population is really dwindling. And that's going to have an effect as well. But that can also be a problem, because sometimes when a country gets in dire straits economically, and they're an authoritarian country like China, they end up going to war. I mean, that's how they think they can fix things, is expand and go to war and everything else. So does China want to do that? Take Taiwan, for instance. That's the problem. But I mentioned at the top of this hour, I said, oh, look, You can look at it two ways with our Cold War with China and what we're learning when it comes to the war in Iran. So you might remember when we did Operation Midnight Hammer, when we did the amazing operation in Venezuela, and then we had pretty good military operations at the beginning of the Iran war. I had said, look, this is not just because Trump was very open about it. We were really showing off. Trump is not just showing off for the American people or to our enemies. He was showing off for China and Russia. He was trying to send a message that, militarily speaking, even China can't touch us. And that has been true, especially in Iran, because, well, Iranian missiles and Venezuela, where were they getting their missiles? Where are they getting their technology? They're getting a lot of it from China. They get it from Russia as well. And Iran's defensive capabilities, when it came to some of that stuff, was nothing. I mean, barely even touching the United States military. We just completely dominated in that regard. Militarily speaking, it seems like you look at those operations, we are just way ahead of China, more than we even thought. Russia as well. That's the good news. Now, what's the bad news? I told you there's good and bad news here. Two different ways to look at it when you're talking about our Cold War with China. The bad news is I keep hearing this problem that we have used up a lot of our munitions, our sophisticated munitions, in a very short period of time. So we are basically in military operations against Iran for a month. And now part of this is Democrat hyperbole because they want to blame Trump for something. But there are some concerns among Republicans that we've used up too much and it takes way too long right now to replenish. Because these are sophisticated missiles, for instance, and it takes a while to build all that and get it over there. If that is a problem in a war with Iran, that must be a huge problem if we ever go to war with China. I had played a cut earlier this week of Mark Kelly complaining about this, saying, well, if we were in an extended conflict with China, we couldn't keep up, and that's because of Iran. And I'm thinking, it sounds like it was a bigger problem than Iran. It sounds like this was a problem before we went to war with Iran. So that is concerning to me. So we have this amazing military technology, the most sophisticated, strong, dangerous military in the world. But you're all telling me that can only last for maybe a couple of months and then we're out? That means our enemies, they're going to expose that weakness, whether it's China or Iran or the terrorists, and they're just going to try to wait us out. If it's that difficult to replenish our munitions, all they have to do is wait us out, and then we don't have as much, and then we'll have to leave. That's a concern for our war in Iran, yes, but it's also a major concern if we ever had to go to war with China. That's got to be fixed ASAP. I had talked about before as well how our military, or our Navy, we have like half the Navy ships we had 20, 30 years ago. Oh, but our ships are much more sophisticated now, Yaffee. I understand that, but numbers mean something, and we need to get more. We need to have ships that are more sophisticated, and we just need more of them, period. We need both. So I know I'm not a military expert, not a retired general, anything like that. I just kind of look at the world through common sense, try to look at the big picture. But if everyone's so concerned that we're running out of munitions only after a month with Iran, we should have been concerned before, and we need to fix this problem. And that's one reason why Trump wants to up the military budget, but it's beyond money. It's an infrastructure thing as well. I want to get your take on this. We do have the Yaffee text line, of course. 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Appreciate you listening to the show as always. By the way, you're going to appreciate my good friends at Regenesis Stem Cell Center, especially if you deal with any kind of injury. Maybe you were an athlete for years, and I know sometimes you have athletes and they get later in life, and because of injuries they had, maybe you had an injury in your knee or something. You are playing football and it's injured and you deal with that to this day and you want pain relief, but surgery is just not really an option for you. It's kind of risky. Well, then contact my friends at Regenesis Stem Cell Center. Go to the website, regenesisstemcell.com. It's not some kind of deep invasive surgery. There's pretty much no downtime. You're back to work the next day, and it's using your own body's adult stem cells, and you get real relief. Talk with Dr. Charles Lee. RegenesisStemCell.com. Make an appointment. It could change your life for the better. RegenesisStemCell.com. Let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, coming up next, lighten things up a little bit. I have something that made Yaffee laughy back here in just a sec.
The Yaffee Program.
News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM WVNN. I'm Alabama's voice of reason, Huntsville's conservative conscience. But glad you're here. By the way, if you miss any of the show live, the podcast, always on the website, WVNN.com. All right. Time once again. Haven't done this here in a while, so let's do it. Time for something that made Yaffee laughy. Yes, and so it actually has to do with something Trump said. Recently, he was speaking at a different event, and I guess this just came up. Has to do with J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. And I wish I could do this here. Obviously, I can't because, next time I have a live event, I'll just do something similar. I'll make you cheer for me or Dale Jackson. I have no idea. Go ahead and play a Trump cut 3 for me, Walker.
I envy you and other people. I don't know. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have? Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. JD and that was a perfect ticket. By the way, I do believe that's a dream team, but these are minor details. That does not mean you have my endorsement under any circumstance. But, it's it was a big and then a very nice. I think it sounds like presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate.
So he literally, so there's all this talk in political circles on who's going to be the next Republican nominee. Now, we could also talk about who's going to be the next Democrat nominee. I still think it is very possible it's going to be Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. But yeah, so he decides, a lot of people think it's going to be J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. A lot of people also think it's probably going to be J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio will be the VP on the ticket. But for Trump to actually do that in a crowd. Now, if you listen to the crowd, I hate to say it because I like Marco Rubio. But if you listen to the crowd and the clapping, it sounded like J.D. Vance won. Am I wrong on that? I don't know if that happened everywhere, but at least the crowd that was with Trump, it kind of sounded like J.D. Vance won. I don't know. But I tend to like Marco Rubio. I think Marco Rubio, he gets up. One, he can do a million jobs. He's eminently qualified. I think he's absolutely right on like 99% of the issues. But I do think after this, we do need a candidate that goes back to the idea. So Trump had the idea, make America great again, which is good. I would like the next candidate to say, believe in America again. Because you listen to like AOC, for instance, I just mentioned her. She doesn't believe in America as it is. She wants to radically transform it. She doesn't believe billionaires should exist. And the ones that do, she said, they didn't get there legitimately. Now, that's a whole nother economic situation. We're going to talk. AOC has quite a bit of money now. Did she get there legitimately? Define legitimately. Seriously. You're talking about how much you're making from the taxpayers, for instance, AOC. We could go down that road. But I do think Rubio would be a good spokesman for the idea of believe in America again. Because it's such a contrast. It shouldn't be. Both candidates should obviously be like, let's believe in America. But in today's world, it is such a contrast, is it not? So I think Rubio could be a good spokesman for that. But I'm not sure. It looks like if I had to put money on it, one, it's way too early. I think that's one reason Trump does it. Well, Trump just likes the reality TV aspect. Maybe we do an Apprentice presidential edition, or instead of campaigning in the Republican primary, they just campaign for Trump in some kind of special edition of the Apprentice reality TV show. Maybe that's what we're just going to do. But honestly, it's too early. It's too early to really know. So much can change in the next 2 years. It's very likely it's someone we're not even thinking of who just really ends up shining on the campaign trail, and nobody even is thinking of J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio anymore. But you can tell me what you think if you want to, we can take a poll or whatever. You can tell me what you think on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Coming up next, Walker is here. We'll do What's Trending with her. I always end the show with the Yaffee program Rewind. We'll read some of your text messages and much more. Back here in just a couple minutes.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
The Hammer Alley Podcast, an 80s flashback mockumentary.
Back in the 80s, there were 1,000 bands trying to make it in the world of rock, but there was one band that had it all, Hammer Alley.
Whatever happened to Hammer Alley?
How did they go from top of the rock?
I'm looking for a music video. They're a band from 1987, Hammer Alley. Ever heard of them?
To rock bottom.
Dude, I was born in 1987.
Oh.
I can't believe he's doing this.
Hammer Alley.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Welcome back to the Yaffee program. I'm Alabama's voice of reason, Huntsville's conservative conscience. Glad you're here. If you miss any of the show live, the podcast is up. And Walker, I'm glad she's here. So let's do it. What's trending with Walker?
Keeping you up to date with all that's trending in your world.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
You guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
It's What's Trending.
Sponsored by Coleman Furniture Market. They always have the latest trending in furniture. Now is the time to go if you need new furniture because, well, their big Memorial Day sale is going on. So looking at what you need for your house. Don't get something cheap. Get something nice, but pay like it's, cheap. Get it for a great price, at Coleman Furniture Market. Big Memorial Day sale going on right now. You can find out more on the website, ColemanFurnitureMarket.com. You can like their Facebook page or follow them on Instagram, of course. And when you get that nice furniture, when you make your home that much better, let them know you heard about it from Yaffee. All right, Walker, what's number four? Oh, first, Walker, happy birthday. I had to say that. Almost forgot to say that. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, there we go. What, we're doing anything fun for your birthday today?
I'm going to be going to one of my favorite places in Huntsville and then out to a movie.
Okay, well, there you go. That's not what movie?
It is called The Sheep Detectives. Where
oh, okay, yeah, I saw the trailer for that. Yeah.
I love the trailer so much.
Okay, well, it sounds fun. All right, what is number 5?
Number 5 today, I thought this was interesting. In Japan, a snack company is having to change their packaging to black and white after they've been struggling to get oil from Iran.
So, okay, interesting, because they use the oil for colors?
Yeah, it says that it's specifically naphtha, which is a oil-derived product that they use in their ink.
Interesting. I had no idea. I mean, yeah, I mean, people don't think about that because you think oil, you think immediately gas for your car, but that is something that people have to know. I mean, petroleum is used for all kinds of things. So when you have a problem like this, it affects a lot. It really does.
Yeah, and so many plastics, are made with the oils too, so I'm sure there will be problems from that.
All right. What's number 4 today?
Number 4 today, Lego has announced a their biggest Lord of the Rings set yet. And
just kidding. I don't know why I said uh-oh. It's probably pretty cool.
yeah, the city of Gondor is 8,700.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hurt. That's a lot of my feet getting hurt by stepping on them because my kid leaves them on the floor. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, 8,278 pieces of the model called Minas Tirith for the 25th anniversary of Lord of the Rings. And it is $650.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as much of a Lord of the Rings guy, fan as the next guy, but $650. You always seem to find these things that are like, oh, that's cool. It also costs $1 million or something. You're really good at finding those for what's trending.
I guess when it's that cool, it's got to have a high price.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, people will pay it. People will pay that for that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And there are plenty of like nerdy stores that I've been to where at the front they'll have these really cool models people have made, and I would not be surprised to see this here.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Okay. Are you a Lord of the Rings fan? I think you told me you are.
I've seen Lord of the Rings. It's been a very long time, but almost every guy I know is very into it.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Is your boyfriend into it?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. All right, what's number 3?
Number 3, Wendy's is giving away free merch every Wednesday for the next month. This week, of course, starting today, you can get a free tote bag.
Oh, a Wendy's tote bag.
Yes. And then next Wednesday is a Wendy's charm bracelet. The 27th is a soccer jersey. And then June 3rd is a Canon PowerShot camera with Wendy's branding on it.
So I like that one. That's the coolest one, I think.
Yeah, they really made a big change from tote bag to camera.
I was about to say, there's a lot of like random stuff on there. Okay. Which one would you want out of all that?
I would want the charm bracelet.
Okay. I'd want the camera. I was going to say, the camera seems pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. So,
but it's a first come, first service basis. It's open for 1 hour after a push notification is sent from their app.
So, going to Wendy's, sounds like. So, wait, what days for the camera?
The camera is June 3rd.
Got to remember that. Write that down. You were the one who got me, you reminded me of a free sub at Firehouse, so I got that. So now you do this. I have to make sure I remember that. All right, what is number 2?
Number 2 today, eBay has rejected GameStop's $56 billion takeover offer.
I saw this. I although I didn't read into it too much, I don't know why they rejected it or why GameStop really wants eBay. But
yeah, I'm not sure really where this came from because GameStop has been like declining over the years. So I don't know why they would really think, oh, let's take over one of the biggest companies. But
yeah, that's true. Well, I guess it's because they know they're declining, so they need something. But I don't know. It's not a perfect fit, I guess.
Right. And they do already have a 5% stake in the company.
Oh, okay.
But
didn't know that either.
Right. GameStop was hoping to help it compete with other online retailers.
So, well, I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, that's who they have to compete with the most. So I'm guessing maybe just the infrastructure of eBay. So they don't have to build up their own big infrastructure of selling games online. They just kind of use the resources of eBay. So I'm guessing. But did eBay say why they didn't want it, or?
They just said that they thought that they were still a strong, resilient business. They were confident that under the current management that they are well positioned to continue to drive sustainable growth.
Okay, well, I guess they are.
Yeah, GameStop was hoping for... They only have 1,600 locations in the U.S., and they wanted to offer to be drop-off and shipping locations for eBay.
Ah, that makes sense.
And then do live sale broadcasts featuring eBay's products.
That makes sense. Okay. Well, eBay said no. So they're like, nope, we're good on our own. We don't need games. All right, what's number one?
Number one is something local that happened. Redstone Federal Credit Union surprised Huntsville customers with paid expenses. They were at Food City and helped random families with covering the costs for food, gas, and utilities.
And what was it? I'm sorry, which credit union?
Redstone Federal Credit Union.
Wow, that's nice. So they just randomly would pick a family and say, hey, we're going to pay for this? We'll help with this?
Yeah, it was called Acts of Brightness.
That's really cool. I like that. And it wasn't just customers of theirs. It was just anybody in the store.
Any customer of Food City.
And there are a lot of Food Cities around now. It didn't. When I moved there was no Food Cities, I think. And now there's a few that they're popping up.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I've only been a few times.
I mean, it's hard to be Publix in my mind.
Yeah, I was about to say I would compare it to Publix.
Similar, but, Publix. I grew up with Publix because I grew up in Florida, and that's where they started.
Okay.
And they were everywhere. Now they're everywhere, even beyond Florida. But all right, Walker, I appreciate it. Thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Once again. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. That's right. I am Alabama's truth czar. This is Huntsville's disinformation board. Remember when Biden tried to make a disinformation board for America? And I was like, no. There is a disinformation board already. It's this show. I'm just saying. By the way, got some texts coming in on our Yaffee text line. You can always weigh in. One person said this. Jonathan said, wow, they updated their attack on Mo Brooks. How will he handle this one? So you might remember that controversy. I wrote about it at YellowHammerNews.com, where he went after the Business Council of Alabama, the BCA, PAC, they accused him of insider trading. And he said, you better put that down, or that's libel. So they retracted, and now they have one where they're like technically correct, but still kind of misleading, so to speak. So I'm sure Mo Brooks will react. Now, I heard an ad as well. We have no control over the ads and stuff, but I heard an ad as well by Mo Brooks. So, well, we'll see how that goes. Another person said this, because I was saying, I like the idea of believe in America again. Make that the slogan. If a Rubio runs for president, the slogan should be believe in America again. And somebody agreed with me, said that's a great slogan. Good job. Also loved the Yaffee Laffy, which I'll play here in a moment. In fact, we'll recap the whole show right now. We do this every day at the end of the show. It's time for the Yaffee program rewind. That time of the show where I remind you, if you missed any of the show live, well, the podcast is up anywhere podcasts are available. That includes Podbean, that's one, believe it or not. Spreaker, that's another one, believe it or not. But also iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Spotify, anywhere, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. There you go. So at the beginning of the show, yes, we talked about the latest with the redistricting, gerrymandering bonanza, and the fact that a court has allowed Alabama to go back to its 6-1 Republican-favored map that the legislature wrote in 2023. And, of course, Democrats just can't help but play the race card, including Wandolyn Gavan, who called her colleagues in the state Senate racist. Now she's calling Clarence Thomas, of course, an Uncle Tom, I guess. But go ahead and play the Waddle Gavan cut for me, Walker.
Clarence Thomas is the justice who has that, the way it's set up like a supervisory, I can't give the exact definition of it. So it's broken up to different districts. He has Alabama. This MFer, I'm sorry guys, this man, this Uncle Tom, this black man right here, I don't know what kind of black he is. I don't know what damn plantation this man came from. I don't know which slave ship he was on. I don't know what part of the slave ship he was on. But I have never in my life met a black man who has never done any damn thing at all in the position that he has that would ever benefit black people. And this man that's just as dark as I am, you literally have ruled to take away 2 damn congressional seats because that's what's going to happen. That you are now setting the course. You have sided with the Republican Party. You are a freaking straw boss, a Stephen Fletcher, a damn Uncle Tom for these people. I just don't get it.
Wow. So I'm done with this. I'm so tired of this. Draw a 7-0 map. Fine, whatever. These people aren't going to stop yelling, playing the race card. And that game is over. So forget it. I'm annoyed. I'm done. Do it to spite her, I guess. So we talked about that at the beginning of the show. We also had more details on what's going on in Alabama during the Alabama bullet points when it came to redistricting. We also spoke with Congressman Barry Moore earlier on in the show. He's running for the U.S. Senate. As you know, he has a bill to ban Sharia law in the country, but also has a bill that would make immigrants a vow to be against Sharia law. So we talked about that, and of course redistricting, and of course the latest in Iran. We also speaking of that, we talked about Trump's trip to China. He has now arrived in China. He is meeting with Xi Jinping, and Trump was asked, what he expects from this meeting. Go ahead and play Trump cut 1 for me, Walker.
What is the ultimate goal of your trip to China?
I think more than anything else is we have massive relationships with China. We're the 2 superpowers. We're the strongest nation on earth in terms of military. China's considered second. Who knows? Who knows? But we are. There's nobody even to come close. And you see that whether it's Venezuela or whether it's Iran. Iran's military is decimated. I have a great relationship with President Xi, and I think it's going to remain that way. We have a lot of things to discuss. I wouldn't say Iran is one of them, to be honest with you, because we have Iran very much under control. We're either going to make a deal or they're going to be decimated. So one way or the other, we win. But we're going to be talking with President Xi about a lot of different things. I would say more than anything else will be trade.
All right, and I also played a cut of Tommy Tuberville talking about Trump's trip to China. Go ahead and play Tuberville cut 3.
Yeah, and not just the communist China, but people from third world countries that are coming here. And it's all about assimilation. It's all about coming here like our German ancestors and Italians and the Greeks and all the coming over years ago and saying, listen, let's make this country, this is our country now. Let's make it better. Let's not fly our flags around. Let's go by the laws of the United States of America and make it better. But the problem is our immigration system, Ed, is broken. It needs to be fixed. And I've got a bill out now called the Assimilation Act, and it prioritizes people that want to come over and assimilate. But it also does away with chain migration, does away with the visa lottery. A lot of this stuff we have is nonsense. We go back to 1920, we didn't have any immigration. We stopped it. And if we have to do that to correct this problem we've got, which is huge, we need to do that. But we are losing our country every day because of the nonsense of these people coming from other countries and saying, hey, we want to change this country to the country we came from. Well, heck, you're doing that. Why don't you just stay at home? We don't need you here. You're not ruining our country, folks. If you don't want to go by our laws and our Constitution, go back where you came from.
All right, there you go. So the podcast of that is up as well. So you can check out that segment. We also had something that made Yaffee laughy. It's pretty funny. Go ahead and play Trump cut 3 for me.
I envy you and other people. I don't know. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have? Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. JD and that was a perfect ticket. By the way, I do believe that's a dream team, but these are minor details. That does not mean you have my endorsement under any circumstance. But, it's there was a big and then a very nice. I think it sounds like presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate.
Yes, that actually happened. The White House. Pretty funny stuff, actually. All right, if you missed any of the show, as you know, as I've been saying, the podcast is up. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks to Walker for producing. The Vince Show is coming up next, and I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
The Yaffee Program.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
Why? Because I have a job to do.
With rapid-fire takes.
So I don't want to hear from you lava pigs on this notion today. No idea what you're talking about. You're complaining more than you like to breathe air. It's like you get up in the morning only to complain and cry and moan on social media about things that you don't even understand.
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
Take advantage of it. Get up in here.
The Jim Rome Show podcast.
What's your beef?
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
You've been warned.